Hello again. In this video I'm going to show you how to install your press-fit barrel-mounted Picatinny rail segment for attaching a red dot or other optic to your Crosman 1377 or similar air pistol. Please note that this video details the installation of a 5-slot rail segment, but the instructions are the same for rail segments of any length. In order to complete the install, you're going to need a couple of tools. The appropriate tool for removing and installing your optic of choice, a 1.3mm hex bit and a driver, a flathead screwdriver, or in this case a flathead bit and a driver, a rubber mallet, your Crosman 1377 air pistol, and your Picatinny rail segment printed out of black PETG. Before we begin the installation, you'll need to clear your air pistol. Open the bolt and make sure the chamber is empty before dropping the plunger by pulling the trigger with the air pistol pointed in a safe direction, in this case towards a concrete wall. Now we're ready to begin. If you're replacing a pre-attached optic, you'll need to remove it using the appropriate tools before continuing. After you have removed any optics from your air pistol, pull back the bolt to reveal the countersunk hex screw that is one of the two screws securing the upper plastic receiver that contains the bolt. Remove the screw using a 1.3mm hex bit and a driver. Set that aside for later. Don't lose the screw. You may want to set it aside in a magnetic parts tray or place it on a clear flat surface where it stands out from the background and won't just roll away. Next, you need to remove the rear sight by removing the screw that holds it on and also secures the upper receiver. Now the receiver and barrel assembly is not secured to the air piston tube, but it is holding in place a very small part called a transfer sleeve, this little metal ring that is not exactly symmetric on either side. You can remove the receiver and barrel separately. When you remove the barrel, that transfer sleeve is no longer being held in with anything and you can remove it, take it in your hand. Notice that the small side of that part is the side that goes down, that's the shorter side, and the longer side is the side that goes up into the plastic receiver piece. Now, if you have an old rail installed, you should be able to remove it just by twisting it and pulling it off the barrel. If it's really stuck on there, you can tap it with a rubber mallet lightly. The new part can be installed in the same way. If it's difficult to slide on it first, you can tap lightly with a rubber mallet. If you're able to just slide it on, go right for it. Note that the slot in the bottom should go over the hole in the barrel for the transfer sleeve where the air comes in. Here I use a rubber mallet to just tap it on after I lined it up by hand there. And that gets it most of the way. And then I grab it and I twist it the rest of the way on. Now we have to get it on a certain minimum distance so that the receiver can accept the barrel and still have the transfer sleeve fit into the air hole underneath the chamber portion of the upper receiver where it connects to the barrel. The best way to get this distance set is just to place the upper receiver onto the barrel and make sure that it lines up. If it doesn't, then just slide the rail segment until it does. Now we need to put the transfer sleeve back in the correct orientation. Remember that the shorter side of the transfer sleeve is the side that goes down onto the air piston, and the longer side goes up into the barrel and receiver assembly. I've reassembled the air pistol from this point in two different ways. One option is to insert the transfer sleeve into the barrel and upper receiver assembly with the long piece up into the barrel, and then kind of lay the rest of the air pistol down onto that assembly and get everything to line up. And the other is to insert the transfer sleeve onto the air piston and then install the barrel and upper receiver assembly down onto that. I'll show you both here and you can pick for yourself which is easier. I tend to have more success with the second option, putting the transfer sleeve on the air piston and then lining everything up. After you have the barrel, receiver, and transfer sleeve assembly all back together, it's time to reinstall the 1.3mm hex screw that goes under the bolt. Don't tighten this down all the way. If you tighten it down too far, you'll see that the back of the receiver will rise up and this will make it really difficult to get your rear sight in. Instead, only tighten it a little bit so that it's snug, but not too tight, and then install the rear sight with your flathead screwdriver, and then we'll go back and tighten that screw after we've installed the rear sight. That's really all there is to installing the rail. Two screws, not losing the transfer sleeve, and just sliding the rail onto the barrel. From here you can go ahead and install your cheap red dot of choice. Here I'm using an AT3 Tactical 2MOA red dot that looks very similar to a Bushnell Trophy TRS-25. I find the low profile red dots tend to do better on this than some of the higher mounted cheap dots you can get off Amazon. So if you find something that looks like the TRS-25 and it says it's a 2, 3, or 4 MOA dot, it's probably fine. Now all that's left to do is take it outside and zero it. Happy plinking!